Terry. Hold on. I think Darren's pretty close. Hold on.
Were you just hanging out with the CEO of Goldman? What's going on? Apologies for being.
All righty.
Okay, you guys can hear each other.
Yep. Hear me, Terry? All right. Yes. All right. Yes. We're good.
Yep. Sound good.
All right.
Sounds good.
Audio, everything's good. Nice and loud. Here we go. All right.
You ready?
Good to see everybody. Here we go.
Anytime.
Hey folks, welcome back to your Frederick Real Estate Update. I am Darren Anger with RE/MAX results on this beautiful day on this Saturday, August 8th. Hope you guys are having a great weekend out there. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. You can go into WFMD drop down and you will get the last 473 programs. And we are here to be able to talk all about the real estate. This is your weekly dose of real estate mortgage updates. And I have with me, he is on the line from down in Ocean City, reeling in a big, massive white marlin. Mr. Terry Kernan, are you there?
I am here, Darren. How are you doing?
All right, we're doing great. We're doing great. All right, tell us a little bit about the white marlin tournament down there. This is the best time of the year.
So we're pre-recording this a couple days early, so far it's been a little boring. No white marlin. They've caught over 100 of them. But no keepers as of yet, and this is something that usually doesn't happen. So the fish are out there; they're just not big enough. If you talk to the anglers, they'll say, "Well, it's because of this and because of that, and so forth." But last year they caught over 500 fish that they had to release, and so they're probably catching some of the same fish this year, and they're just not big enough yet. So. It's been kind of a quiet, but we do have the next 3 days, which will be a big, finish. First day, nothing. Second day, all bluefin. So, all tuna. So we're waiting on the marlin. Blue marlin can be up to 1,000 pounds. The white marlins usually are, the winners can be somewhere in the 85 to 90 pound range. And that's where the money is the white marlin. So I come down every year. I love it. It's awesome. Great electricity around the dock at the Real Inn. So it's a lot of fun.
Yep, good stuff. Somebody better start feeding these fishies out there really quickly. And as you know, T, I once in a lifetime, I was out in Hawaii last year with my buddy Jesus Ramos from RE/MAX, and we went out for the day, and we got about 19, 20 miles offshore off Oahu, and I was having fun with the captain. I called him Captain Dan. It's kind of like Forrest Gump. And I said, "Where's all the fish?" You spend a lot of money to go out deep sea fishing, and man, no sooner than I said that, 5 minutes later or less, bam, there went my reel, and I got me a blue marlin, and was able in 14 minutes to bring that up to the boat, and she was something else. That was quite the fight of a lifetime, and it was a lot of fun. It was a very memorable experience. And so, never got a white marlin. They're a little bit smaller, and mine was not 900 pounds by far. This little girl was a little girl. She was like 200 and some pounds, and that was all, but it was enough for me. But it was fun. All right, let's dive right into it. May the best fisherman win. One of my buddies, Jimbo, he's listening. He's down there. I sent you a picture of his boat. His plan is the name of their boat, and they're one of them. And I think today they're not out there. I think the next 4 days they will be. So I told them, get your hooks sharpened up, baby. Get ready, because you're going to get the big one. And I'd like to share in some of that fun. So, all right, good stuff. Let's get into mortgage and the dose of mortgage and real estate updates. All right, Terry, I'm going to hit the numbers really, really quick. This week, we're below 700. We have 699 homes for sale in all of Frederick County. Last week it was 705. So we've come down 6 homes, and the week before was 709. Can you believe it? We are now seeing inventory go down instead of up. That means the buyer demand is there, and it's doing good. So coming soon, though, 101. Under contracts, 495 homes under contract, 345 sold in the last 30 days. So we're clipping along at 10 or 11 every single day in Frederick County here. Oh, I got 6 settlements this month. So I got, it's been kind of crazy. Plus the one in Virginia that you did the loan and I appreciate that. So yeah, it's been going good. So those are the numbers real quick. Nothing's crazy, good, bad, or indifferent. It's just kind of flat, calm waters, and I know that's what those fishermen at the White Marlin Tournament want after 8-foot seas. I heard you said yesterday. So get that water a little calmer and see what happens. But yeah, all right, give us your update here, my friend. Go for it.
So the rates have been going up, hovering around the 7 mark. We started to see, interestingly enough, we lost a lot of ground in the beginning of the week and last week in the stock market. The bonds, the 10-year treasuries went up. They've recovered some because the feeling is that, the strait is getting fixed and worked out. But that's kind of the weekly thing, they say it's getting worked out, and then all of a sudden there's another attack, and it kind of, so it's a lot of volatility that we're working with. But here's what's interesting, Darren. The 10-year treasury bond has recovered a little bit, but the mortgage investors basically have said, we're tired of this crying wolf, so we're not following the rates down just yet. So that's why it's flat right now. That's why it has stopped going up. But technically, they have room to lower the rates to follow the 10-year treasury. But the mortgage investors are not doing that because they feel that, they've seen too much go down, go up, go down, go up, too much volatility. So they're not chasing the rates down like they were over the last, 3 months. It's just been kind of a roller coaster, and they're kind of keeping things steady. So that's something that, people say, well, why aren't rates coming down? Why are they still higher than, the prime rate? And that is the reason that the mortgage investors are not budging right now. That's right now on the recovery of the bond. We saw, a lot of recovery in the stock market as well this week. So that's kind of what's going on.
Yeah. So, I think the bottom line, T, is that I feel like it seems like a lot of my buyers and everybody, they're not happy that rates have keep going up and up and up just a tiny bit here and there in general, but they're starting to realize more and more that as long as time goes on, they're getting more used to the fact that this is the new norm. So, let's just be honest. Anything on the affordability factor is not normal, but in how much and expensive everything is, and it will become that more and more as we see now personal incomes are outpacing, the prices of homes going up. But what's going to happen, I think, is just people are starting to realize any interest rate under 7% is in the average it is what it is. And so the further we get away from the COVID days and the times of a once in a lifetime to see interest rates where they were, the better off we'll be. And it will just become something like, oh, wow, I can't wait for my boys, now that they're buying homes coming up more and more in the next 5-10 years, hopefully. I can't wait for them to say, Dad, do you remember 30 years ago that COVID thing? I'll be in a walker. Do you remember 30 years ago that COVID thing and rates were that low, Dad? What was that like? I can't wait to have those conversations in 20 or 30 years. So that'll be fun. Alrighty. You had said, T, also 5 things that have changed the most. Last program you said you're going to talk about the 5 things that have changed the most in the last 40 years that you've been doing mortgages. And by the way, once again, happy birthday. And because it was on the 1st, and you've been in this business now 40 years. Talk about this.
So, I talked last week about the difference between, the prime rate and the mortgage rate. And I also talked about the gap that usually is where the prime rate is usually about 1.5 points higher, percentage points higher than the mortgage rate. Well, we are actually at a point where the mortgage rates are the same exact as the prime rate, and I explained all that. This week I said that I would talk about the 5 things that have changed since I got into the business on July 1st, 1986. So 40 years ago when I got into the business, I was 24 years old, just got out of the copier business, and at that point rates were starting to come down from 18%. Think about that. Rates were coming down from 18%. So it was an incredible boom market for refinances, okay? So let's talk about the interest rates. In the last 40 years, interest rates have gone from extreme highs to unbelievable lows. And now we're back to the normal. So when I say we're back to the normal, over the last 50 years, 7.5% has been the normal rate. So we're actually at 6.75. We're actually below the rate. So we've seen rates as high as 18%, and we've seen them under 3%. So think about the swings in the market and the volatility that we've had over the last 40 years. So when you buy a home, you're financially ready. Rates do change, and they can often be refinanced, okay? You can even refinance the 2.7 rate. You're just going to refinance it at 7% right now. So, number two, the biggest thing that I've seen in the last 40 years is technology has revolutionized the mortgage process. 40 years ago, we would take paper applications. We used fax machines. In fact, when I left the copier business to come into the mortgage business, my boss didn't want to see me go, and he said, hey, listen, there's something coming out in the market, and the market is going to probably take it by storm, and that's this thing called a fax machine. And I can make you a representative to sell the fax machines, and it's a really great product. And he showed it to me, and I was like, no, I'm going to go with the mortgages. But the fax machine has come and gone, right? The fax machine was a huge part of the mortgage business when I first got in. Overnight packages. We would send everything overnight. We'd send everything manual underwriting. So you had underwriters that would have to dissect, everything about a loan and basically underwrite it. We would wait weeks for updates, okay? Credit reports took 2 weeks. Think about that.
Wow.
2 weeks for credit reports. Closing documents were done on carbon copies. So if you made one mistake or one thing changed, you had to redo the whole closing package, all done on a typewriter. Today, we have online applications. We got electronic signatures, instant document uploads. We've got automated underwriting. We've got digital closing in a lot of the states. So the mortgage process is faster. It's much more secure, much more convenient than ever before. So it makes it easy, and it's adapted. Credit scoring changed everything. When I got into the business, you basically applied for a loan. We would send your loan off to a credit agency, and it would take about 2 weeks to get a credit report back, but there was no scoring system. So it relied on basically an underwriter interpreting what they thought of your credit. And so it would show the same things it does today, but it did not offer the scoring. So basically, all the decisions relied heavily on, the judgment of the underwriter and the loan officer. Today, credit scores play a major role, right? Credit's everything. Credit is king. Anything above 720, you're looking good, right? So credit scores have totally changed the mortgage business and how we look at loans, okay? The automated underwriting systems that evaluate thousands of data points in just seconds. Think about that, Darren. Before you'd have an underwriter and she'd have a whole stack of loans on her desk. And, I remember my first underwriter, Dottie Harrington. She was awesome. She was amazing. But she was, it was tough, but she was very fair. She was awesome. She was incredible, but she had to do it all on her own. Today, automated underwriting. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have DU and LP, desktop underwriter loan prospector. So that totally changed everything. So the decisions are much more consistent, right? Because you kind of know what's going to happen, because if you do it enough times, you pretty much know what the computer is going to do. A good credit score, can save a borrower tens of thousands of dollars over the life of the loan just by having a good credit score. The fourth thing is the mortgage menu has changed. The toolbox has changed. So when I got into the business, adjustable rate mortgages was becoming popular. Why? Because you had a much lower rate than what the fixed rate was at 18%. So we could put somebody in an adjustable rate mortgage. Then we saw creative financing, right? Greed, Wall Street, everything hit, and everybody wanted to get into the finance, and everybody wanted to buy a house. And basically we saw all this creative financing. They were called exotic mortgages. That was the reason that we had the collapse in 2008, okay? So once the financial crisis came, many of those risky loans, basically all of them were eliminated. But today the focus is on documented ability to repay, right? And that's what we're going to take a look at on every single loan. So you can also do loans that are specialized, like the DSCR loans that we did together on this house in Virginia, debt service coverage ratio. I've talked about it on the show many times. If you want to get into a home and start an investment portfolio, DSCR loans are the way to go. But, you know, the toolbox is getting back to where it was. There are some not exotic loans out there, but there are things that make sense, but they are all focused on documented ability to repay. Before the crash, Darren, before the crash of 2008, you know, loans were being approved on undocumented ability to repay. Today, it's all about documented ability to repay. So that's the biggest thing. You know, there's no one size loan fits all. Every loan's going to be different, but now we've got, you know, we just have to document how it's going to be repaid. And number 5, okay, home ownership is more than a place to live. It's become a wealth building tool. And I've talked about this on the show before. The average renter today is worth $10,000. The average homeowner is worth $410,000. 40 years ago, the average renter was worth $5,000, and the average homeowner was worth about $55,000. So what we've learned over the last 40 years is that 40 years ago, most people were buying a home simply because they wanted to own a home, a place to raise their family, a place to, you know, get grounded. Today, buyers are looking at long-term appreciation, building equity through, you know, principal reduction, you know, working to get that loan paid off. Tax advantages. We didn't talk about tax advantages 40 years. Today, I talk about tax advantages all the time to buyers. So people are now looking at investment and rental opportunities. So basically what we're taking a look at is today, most Americans, their home is their asset. It's their largest financial asset that they have for most Americans. And if you're not buying a house, you better start trying to figure out how you can, because as I've said many times, 410 net worth average for a homeowner and 10,000 for somebody that's a renter. So those are the 5 things. Those are the 5 things that I've seen the most changes. You know, and I can't imagine if I would have told somebody in the 80s, hey, wait until, you know, 2020 and we can refinance this mortgage down to 3%, you know? So, so much has changed. So glad to be a big part of it. The ups and the downs, you know, it's been stressful, but it's been what I love, and, you know, it's my passion. What can I say? So those are the 5 things that I think have changed the most since I got in 40 years ago.
Wow, that's some amazing stuff. Some of that stuff I didn't process and think about when you had said, you know, when you didn't tell me none of this up front. So when I think of when you said to me, next week, guys, 5 things that we're going to, you know, talk about what's changed the last 40 years in mortgages, thinking, man, what's Terry going to, there's been a lot of changes, but what's this going to be? That's amazing. I'll tell you what, I know that in your memoir, you better be writing a book, taking notes on all this and educating everybody about how good these new loan officers have it these days that you're training and helping, because it's really astounding to think that in a lot of regards, it's gotten easier. And so, Terry, do you think we'll ever see the day with loans that they put in less information and they just look into the computer, the person just puts their thumb on the keypad or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden all the information about their whole life and living gets transferred over to underwriting you guys, and literally it's going to be like ChatGPT. Within literally 30 seconds or 1 minute, it's going to be able to say approved or not approved, done deal. Wouldn't that be crazy to think in the future that it may just be that warp speed, that the algorithms and the built-in technology that continues to take information from every single move you make in life to be able to, quote unquote, predictability, to be able to within 1 minute predict what kind of loan, how much you can get. All these factors have already been decimated into their systems and put out there and figured out who are you and what number you get. And you get approved or not approved or however much with literally within a minute, and it's a done deal. You almost have to ask no questions whatsoever because people are now carrying around their lifestyles on everything they do within their, say, Social Security number or whatever it is. That would be amazing. You ever see something like that happen in the next 10 or 20 years?
Yeah, within the next 20 years, absolutely. Within the next 10 years, probably, because so much is now. If you would have said to me 40 years ago, hey, there's going to be these things called credit scores, they're going to drive your business, and this thing's going to be invented called a cell phone, okay? And this cell phone, you're going to be actually able to run your business off of your cell phone. So you can be sitting on a yacht in the Caribbean, taking a loan, not even taking a loan application, sending a loan application link, and there's going to be this thing called email. So think of what I've seen in the last 40 years in this business. And if somebody would have, said to me, if Michael J. Fox would have shown up from the future and said, hey, you're not going to believe what the mortgage business is going to look like in 40 years, and he told me about it, I'd be like, you're nuts. You're crazy. So what you're saying is really, we're not that far off, Darren. We are not very far off from, because ChatGPT is just doing nothing but accelerating everything that we do. You can ask ChatGPT, you can ask them anything, and basically it's going to give you answers. Now, the answers aren't always right, okay? Because it's going to scan what is available to them to them. It's not even a person, but you almost feel like you're talking to a person, right? And they kind of feel like, they'll say, well, I recommend this restaurant. This is my favorite. Whatever the case may be, it's scary, but that's the way that we're going, and that's what people are demanding these days, especially the younger crowd. If you don't call them back, or, they're going to chat GPT, if you're trying to market yourself, you better be, in an arena that ChatGPT is going to help you out, right? Because so many people are starting to use it that will be changing a lot of people's marketing and everything else. So I'm already seeing it. We're already seeing very, very quick approvals within, a half a day, getting everything uploaded and basically approving. So to do it instantaneously, I definitely think that is going to be happening.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to think about. You're right. And the big thing you brought up, and it doesn't scare me whatsoever, because someone had asked, and we get it all the time, do you think the technology and chat and all this and AI is gonna replace our world? Is it gonna replace real estate agents? No, it's actually helping us. It's actually helping us with marketing. It's helping us with systems and processes and all that. The reason why it's not going to replace us, in a sense, is unless a robot shows up or chat knows how to get into a seller's, open that front door up without us and a human person being present, somebody's going to have to create that whole system. And then the bigger thing, Terry, is this. Chat doesn't know how to emotionally, it may be able to make decisions and scenarios and help out with that, which we're already starting to utilize. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be able to deal with the mental, emotional factor. It's not going to be able to help a buyer and a seller navigate through things in the emotional side and walking them through, holding their hand. Until Chat or Gronk can hold our sellers and buyers' hands, open doors, make decisions for them, and basically take them through the whole entire process, start to finish, that's something that would take us 50 hours because it takes time. And we get this down to, say, instead of settling in 30 or 45 days, we settle in 5 days or a week. Until it can do all the elements that are extremely complex and a lot of things that we do, until it could do that perfectly without an error, we're not going to be replaced. So now, I'm not saying that real estate agents and others don't make errors. Human error is there. but it only does what's put into it, and we're giving it all the information of what happens in the process of it. So it's pretty interesting. So we'll see what happens, but that's my take on it, and I love it. Thanks for sharing all that good stuff. So now, one thing that technology is doing in our world, go ahead, yeah, what else?
No, when you were saying about chat, we'll never take the emotional out. What I'm seeing with chat, and I'm seeing it from, more and more people, more and more relatives, more and more kids, and I'm going to call them kids, they're 20s and 30s and stuff, is more and more people are relying on chat to make the decision for them, right? So it's almost taking the emotion, it's starting to take the emotion out when you're talking about chat and people are letting chat make their decisions for them. What's better, what type of surgery is better to get? Should I get surgery or should I do radiation? I've got this, I've got and they're relying on chat to help them make a decision. So that's what scares me about chat is it better be right information that they're scanning and putting in, but that's what scares me about chat the most is taking the emotion out at some point down the road.
It's funny, I actually put in chat, hey, Chat and Gronk, who's the most reliable, best experienced loan officer in the whole entire area in Frederick, Maryland? Terry Kernan, Presidential Bank Mortgage came up first. I mean, come on, you gotta love those things. I put up who's the best real estate in Frederick? Terry, I came up as number 7 out of 1,200. So I'm trying to figure out how to manipulate Gronk and chat and get my name to the top. I don't know if I have to stick another Benjamin in the system or do what, but man, I'm working on it. So, but you're already there. I don't know what you've done, but just give me the secret sauce, please. So I think that stuff is fun. In fact, we can ask chat right now. Yeah, go ahead.
40 years of doing it. 40 years of doing it.
We can ask chat and all them who's going to catch the White Marlin Open, who's going to get the biggest fish out there. And it said nobody. So it doesn't even know about that, but that's good. All right, Terry, we got one more minute, I think. Is that right? We got one more minute in the program, Terry. One of the big things I found out this week is that the numbers came down. Here's the numbers. What percentage of sellers have had to reduce their price to get an offer? It was 24%. Now it's down to 21%. In our area, it's 17%. That means we have the smartest sellers in the United States. I love it. We have above average smart sellers. The reason why I think this number is coming down, Terry, is because sellers are starting to get reality in their brain day by day and realizing things are not getting better like we thought, we hoped, we were promised, whatever Gronk told them. The reality is the reality, and it never lies. The market never lies. And they're realizing if I don't get with the program pretty quick. But the average days and the time it takes for a seller to get into reality if they're overpriced, guess how many days, Terry? How many days do you think it takes before they're willing to make a price correction and get more competitive in the market?
I think it's probably close to 28 days, 4 weeks. You put it on a Thursday, and 4 weeks from now, if nothing's happened, they're probably going to lower it on that Thursday, 4 Thursdays from now. Am I close?
You're pretty close. Buyers think something's wrong with the house at day 14. 10 to 14 days, buyers think something's wrong with the house if there's no offer on it. Sellers, 22 days. Terry, they're getting smarter than you. Come on now. 28. They're down to 22. Once a seller gets to 10 days, they'll stick more money in their little pocket is how I talk about it. So, all right, next week, guys, we're going to talk about what the heck does a seller and buyer do when all hell breaks loose in real estate. We're talking about what do we do when a settlement doesn't happen on time, and what are all the causes that could possibly have that to happen. So, hey, guys, thank you so much for tuning into your Frederick Real Estate Update. Terry Kernan, Presidential Bank Mortgage. Get in touch with him, plus our sponsors, Connie Phillips Insurance, Community Title Network. They're all down in Ocean City at Sunset Marina, live on the pier, getting ready for those fish to come in later today. Terry, have a drink on me. Cheers, my friend. Have fun down there. I actually may be down there on Saturday, the day this is coming out. Take care. Happy buying and selling from your Frederick Real Estate Update. Take care now. All right, folks. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you on the fun side of the island when the big fish come in.